Hey y'all, I'm Hope. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm reviewing all the books that I read in December. I don't know why I was gonna say books, but I was. Anyway, I'm reviewing all the books I read in December, and this will be a quick one because I didn't read very much. It was a month where I was really looking forward to doing a lot of reading. I had a lot of time off. I thought I was going to be really productive with that, but it ended up just kind of being a weird month where part of the month I was just not in a reading mood, and then I actually had a death in my family in the latter half of the month, so things got a little hectic then, and I was not really reading at all then either. I was doing a lot more family stuff, spending time with my family, so anyway, it was a weird month, and I only read a few books, but I did really like everything I read, so. The first thing that I read in December was Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This was one that I read for the Reindeer Readathon. I read this for the Dasher prompt, I think. It was like pick up a book that you had started before and then put down. I had started this one during the school semester and then realized I was going to need to put it down because I had some papers I needed to write and I was not going to have time to read it. But this book is a manga horror, I don't know why I said it in that order, a horror manga about a town that is contaminated by spirals. It follows a singular character who is a young woman who's grown up in this town as she begins to encounter creepy things about spirals in her town. And it's basically like a series of vignettes of weird things that are spiral related happening to her. And then near the end, it all starts to culminate into this bigger story. But for most of the book, it's these kind of smaller vignettes. Overall, I thought this was really creepy. I think the art in here is fantastic. I think that the characters here are some of my favorites that I've read from Junji Ito. But I also really would have liked the vignettes to start tying together a little bit earlier, because there's like a little bit of overlap here and there, but it isn't really until maybe the last third or quarter of the book that you really start to get a sense of how everything ties together and what's happening. And it just felt like there needed to be a little more clear connection between the different stories, because it just kind of felt like I was reading random stories and I didn't understand how they all went together. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I think this is my favorite thing I've read from Junji Ito so far, and I would highly recommend it if you're looking to get into Junji Ito. I think this is definitely his strongest character work, at least. The next thing I read was Into the Riverlands by Nevo, which is a short novella. It's the third book in the Singing Hills Cycle series, and I just love these books. I was really looking forward to this one. This follows the cleric Chi, this series, I should say, follows the cleric Chi as they travel across this fantastical countryside, collecting stories and histories from the people that live there. And the series really talks about like storytelling and about whose stories get told, which stories get remembered and kept, which ones don't, who gets to make those decisions. And you have Chi in the center of all this, who, as a cleric, their job is just to collect all stories. They think all stories are worth preserving, but there's always this kind of commentary on like what actually gets saved and what gets recorded and things like that, which I always think is really interesting. In this particular installment in the series, Chi is trying to get, I think, to a ship or something, and they end up joining up with two groups of people. And I thought what was interesting about this is that the two groups of people have kind of different stories that they're telling, but all of the stories kind of connect in some way. And I don't want to say too much more about that. I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but I thought that it was really interesting the way the stories connected, because in previous installments in the series, there's been like one story that's been told. So I thought this was just like an interesting, different take on it. And I really loved all the characters in this one. I thought that the whole cast of this was really fun and really interesting. So I really loved this. I always like these books, and I look forward to future installments. I think we're getting at least 2 more, so I'm pretty excited about that. The third thing I read was Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell. I originally had this as an ARC, but I didn't manage to finish it before the finished copy came out. But this one is the second book set in the same universe as Winter's Orbit, which is her book that came out in like 2020 or 2021, I think. This is set in a world, this one in particular is set in a world where there are readers and architects. Readers can read minds, architects can influence them. Readers are not accepted in society in the way that architects are. There's kind of been propaganda against them. And so this follows a reader and an architect who will both end up in the military for different reasons, and they're expected to sync, which is where the architect character, Surratt, is expected to take over the reader character, Tenal's mind, and basically control him. And they're kind of unwilling to do this. They don't really want to. They think that it's unethical. but they find themselves in a situation where they may have to do it after all if they want to survive and actually like help their planet, which is called Orshan. I really enjoyed this. I love these characters. I think that if you liked Winter's Orbit, you'll like this even better. And I think if you liked Winter's Orbit but had some problems with it, or disliked it because you had some problems with it, I think you should try this one because it does some similar things to Winter's Orbit, but I think it does them a lot better. I think this is a stronger book in terms of world building, in terms of characters. I think in Winter's Orbit you ended up with one character feeling really well-rounded and the other one being kind of flat and kind of disappointing because there was this one character who just never really got development in the way the other character did. Here, I think both characters are really interesting. They both have their own struggles they go through. They both get some development that I thought was good. The side characters also get some good development. The world building, I think, is more cohesive in this one, and I also found the plot of this one much more interesting. It's very fast-paced. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and it does this interesting thing where at the end of every part, you have some major change to the status quo, which kept me guessing because I genuinely never knew where this book was going to go. So I really enjoyed this, and I will definitely be reading more from Everina Maxwell in the future. Sorry if you keep hearing me clear my throat. I don't know if I'm gonna have to like cut that out or not. It's first thing in the morning, and like for some reason my voice just does this in the morning. Anyway, the last book I read I will not be reviewing here because it is a HarperCollins title. I believe today is day 42, possibly 43, I think it's 42 though, of the HarperCollins union strike. And as far as I know, they have still not heard from HarperCollins, and HarperCollins is still not willing to negotiate with the union for fairer contracts. So I will not be reviewing that title here, and I hope that you will do everything you can to support the union. I'll try to remember to link their Twitter or their Linktree down below so you can see what else you can do to support them. But yeah, I'm not going to be reviewing that because HarperCollins is being shitty to their workers. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, I hope you'll consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting every Tuesday and Saturday, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.